Welcome back to episode 5 of Conquering Kalimdor. In the last episode, we tamed up some thralls, mostly orcish ones, with one troll and one horse, but they are still taming up. So for now, I took my orcs, and I headed back to the mine where I was defeated in the last episode. Now that there are 4 of us, it will surely become easy. I head on inside and charge the first 2 enemies. They go down easy without a fight. And by without a fight, I mean my orcs running right past this one so I can take them on myself as they go slaughter the other one. We accidentally pulled the other humans that were on the platform behind us, and they join into the fray. I hit a little bit of lag, but not to worry, my orcs make short work of it. I then mine a bunch of iron and coal that I give to Gru, who I've assigned the pack animal of the Gru. Gru will be responsible for carrying most of the items I collect. I go to the platform, and while I did not find much of value, I did see a couple of chests. Again, they didn't have much, but they had some items that I did take. The brimstone is valuable, so I took the brimstone, as well as any iron bars that I found. As I progressed into the mine, I thought I had a dead end, but I decided to climb the platform to see where it would lead. It led to a small little inlet filled with obsidian. Obsidian is used in high quality gear in endgame. Normally in the vanilla mod, you would have to take it all the way to the top of the volcano and to the volcano forge, where you would turn it into obsidian composite. I'm not sure where you would find the volcanic forge on this server, but I mined it anyway to take a little bit of obsidian home, and not only that, obsidian contains gold. Once I collected my gold, I headed out east again toward Ratchet. I wanted to head to the tree where Humar was and see if he was there. On the way to Humar, I found a Kodo. This was interesting. They imported a Kodo model and put it over the animation rig of a gray rhino. As you see there, it charges a rock nose, using the exact same animations as a rhino. I thought it fit well. I always saw Kodos as type of rhino beast. I watched for a while to see who would win in this fight. After a while of waiting, I did get bored, and I sent in my orcs to kill the Kodo. Once it was defeated, I headed over, and I decided to farm it to see what it would drop. I expected rhino stuff, and sure enough, it did give me rhino hide and horns. I head over to Humar's tree, and what do you know, Humar is there. Now, something about Conan Exiles is that there are no female lion models, so instead, the mod author put in mountain lions instead to act as the female lions. I thought this was a nice touch. Not only that, there are baby lions there too. Now, something that I wasn't quite sure on, but it looked like the lion model for Humar was a bit darker in coloration. I couldn't quite confirm that, but if it was indeed darker than other lion models, then that is a nice touch. I didn't feel like I could defeat him as of right now, considering that mountain lions are a little bit on the difficult side, and lions themselves are also mini-bosses. All of us were wearing medium gear with iron weapons, so I skipped him for now, but I will return later. I head to Ratchet and wait for the boat to arrive. It took some time, but eventually it came, and I jumped up onto the boat. While sailing, I realized I had forgotten to head to the Echo Islands, which I was originally going to do in episode 1. I debated on going into Durotar or going to Echo Islands, so I jumped off and swam there. I was met with some crocodiles on the beach, so I swam up quickly onto the land so I could fight them evenly. Crocodiles, while they are a little bit tough for a new player, they're really not that hard to kill. I ended up pulling a second one, and I realized that it was actually an elite crocodile. It had glowing eyes, it was larger than its counterpart. Not only that, you could see the skull under its name. The Echo Islands, unfortunately, were very disappointing so far. It had a lack of jungle trees, which I assumed that it was going to have. I found a random floating hyena for some reason. And not only that, while there were some tents among the ruins, there were no NPCs. No aggressive trolls, no tigers, just a couple of hyenas and a couple of rabbits. I wonder if he's going to add to this eventually, maybe in a future update. I swam back to Durotar, all the way along the coast. I headed to the Kultiris Keep. Now I skipped over it the last time I walked through here because it looked like it was completely closed off. However, unlike the normal World of Warcraft, where it is completely in ruins and you could see into the keep, this one, the walls were completely built up. And there was one gate that led to the inside. Of course, I found an Alliance guard, and we pulled him and tried taking him on. It seems that he had higher quality gear, as he was able to take all of our blows pretty nice. Though we were still able to best him when all of us were working together. We pulled a couple of hyenas by accident, but they were easy to kill. As I looted the Alliance, I found he had Sumerian steel gauntlets. If you did not know, that's an epic quality drop. Of course, as the leader of the party, I decided to wear the epic quality gear. I did not want to throw away my bear shaman gauntlets though, so I decided to promote Muknor and give him my bear gauntlets. May these serve you well in battle, brother. I headed over to the gate to see what was inside. As the gates opened, I could see it looked like a small Alliance settlement. However, if it took a while just to kill one human with the amount of gear that he had, I did not feel safe going in there, considering there's going to be a lot more humans around. However, there is a tower nearby. While not as big as the keep, I figured it would be a small enough start to my conquering of the Alliance. We killed a second human that was guarding outside the keep and headed to the tower. At first there was no one inside, which was interesting, but then I realized they were upstairs. They spotted us and started to head down toward us. My orcs tried to run them off into the stairs. However, they ran right past my orcs and headed straight for me. He tried to strike at me, but I put up my shield and blocked his blow. He then put up his shield, expecting an attack back. As he tried attacking me again, my orcs pushed him into the wall, where they brutally beat him. I ascended up the stairs, and then I saw the very first night elf I've ever seen on this server. She was hitting me pretty hard, so I backed up to let my group take her on. They pushed her into the rail, where again they slaughtered her. She also dropped Sumerian steel gauntlets. This is the second epic quality item I've gotten in the last few minutes. Well, since I was already wearing one, I decided to give it to Crumgar. After all, he was the first thrall I have tamed, and he's the strongest one out of them. As I ascended up the tower, I did not find anything of interest, only a small chest, but it did not have anything of value. I did take the war paint and the water, however. While it was a small victory over the Alliance, it was the first step into taking back our lands from the humans. Eventually, we will take the keep, and it will be a glorious day for the Horde. We continued on north through Durotar. We pulled an elite hyena along with some other hyenas and a couple of scorpions. The elite hyena took some time, but we eventually destroyed him along with the others. We continued on to the Burning Blade Cave. However, there was nothing inside of it. I checked it out just to be sure, but just as I've said, there is nothing inside of the cave. I looked down into the gorge where normally you would have harpies. There were no harpies, but there were spiders. So we descend down into the gorge. After all, spiders were a good source of ichor and silk. Most spiders are actually very easy to kill, so this was gonna be very easy. However, as I continued through the gorge, I then saw it. That big spider there is a world boss, and no doubt will have over 30,000 HP, which we were not ready to deal with. As we left, we headed to Thunder Ridge. And just as the Kodo, there were thunder lizards there. I was not sure what animation rig they had. I tried getting closer, and while they were walking, I couldn't quite tell what animation rig they were using. It was obviously not a rhino. At first I suspected it was maybe a Komodo dragon. I then thought, well, let's see if we could take them on. So I head in slowly with my group. As I saw them run to us, I then realized they were using dragon animation rigs. I did not know if that meant that they had the same stats as the dragon too. At first I wanted to run, but then I attacked it to see what its HP was at. Considering it was just over 1,000, which is still difficult, it meant that they were using baby dragon models. Baby dragons, while hard, can still be dealt with, especially when there's so many of us, as baby dragons do not hit nearly as hard as adult dragons, nor have fire breath. We continued to fight them, however they were hitting very hard. I had to keep getting back and taking potions as needed. Once we defeated the green one, we quickly swapped over to the pink one to finish it off. My followers gain many levels from this, which is good. The stronger they get, the stronger we get as a group. Once they went down, I wanted to see what type of loot it would give. It seems to have the elephant loot, which is weird. I did not expect elephant hides from a thunder lizard. I give the hides to Gru, my pack animal, and continue on, where I found more thunder lizards. I wanted to explore the rest of it, but I was not sure how condensed this area was. So instead, I figured it would be more safe to look at Thunder Ridge from up top. So we went all the way around the outside and headed up to the top of Thunder Ridge so we can look down and see what was inside. As I climbed up, I noticed on the other side of the ridge was a king rhino. Just as the big spider before, king rhinos are world bosses, and they are very difficult. Luckily, he was way over there, so I continued on to look down the ridge. I spotted a gray rhino, but not only that, I spotted a white rhino. White rhinos are somewhat in the base game, however, they were removed from the world and have to be spawned in. I went over to the edge to look down inside too, where I spotted more rhinos, but then, as I turned around, the king rhino ran up on top of us. It scared the shit out of me, and I continued to run. There was no way we could take it on in this state. I kept ordering Kromgar to move. I ran around to the other side of the ridge, hoping to get away from the rhino. I climbed up the rocks, hopefully it could not follow us. I see him back where we were when he was charging at us. Hopefully that was the end of it, and we had gotten away. However, he then saw us, and began running around to catch up to us. Man, that guy is determined. Quickly, before he could catch up to us, I continued to scale the rocks. There was no way he could climb up the rocks after us. Though he almost did, as he did almost catch up to us. He got stopped at one of the rocks. And I think he lost where we were, so we didn't have to worry about him anymore, luckily. I continued to look down Thunder Ridge and only saw more rhinos. As I rounded out and started heading south again, I found another Kodo, so I decided to take it on with the group. It went down easy enough. I then headed over to the Quillboar. Now, just as before, there are no Quillboar in this server. However, there were these little... I actually don't know what they are. I know they are from the Isle of Sipta map. However, just as I've said before, I never really finished the Isle of Sipta map, so I did not remember what they were called. They took a lot of damage, as they had over 1,000 health each. So they were actually fairly strong. If it was just me, or just me and one thrall, I doubt we would have been able to defeat them. Once we did defeat them, however, I checked out the boxes that were nearby. Surprisingly, it had a lot of Black Hand gear, and some Defari flags too. Not really anything of value, but it was interesting to see the two different types there in the chests. The last area I decided to check out before I finished this episode was Skull Rock. However, just as before, Skull Rock is unable to be entered, though there is a green portal, which makes me think that eventually it will become a dungeon as well. Well, that's it. We have conquered most, if not all, of Durotar. This bonus footage, by the way, is because when I went back to Orgrimmar, I started killing some orcs for the fun of it, and they started dropping very good gear. I quickly pressed the record button again so I could show you. Cimmerian steel boots and a star metal skinning knife. Very nice. This concludes this episode of Conquering Kalimdor. If you enjoyed watching this, please subscribe, as I will be posting more videos on my adventures with this mod weekly. Like the video and feel free to comment below. Thank you for watching.